whatever, for January, I think. So 700 of 17, I mean, yeah, 700 out of 17 is a big chunk. But a dollar change is a big change also, so. If we take logs, we'll get an elasticity, but right now we're not worried about logs. By the way, if we did take logs, that would, if we just took a log of cases and price, then we can interpret these as, these would be percentages, right? So we get percentage lifts, but we'll worry about that.
Yeah. So we did notice that when you saw the prices, it was about $1 different, correct? We did notice that. So if you take that into consideration here, then if it's not more than 721, then you probably shouldn't do it. The change, like in regards to like the February, like the promotion. So
You mean if the lift?
if the lift is if it's not more than 721, then it's not worthwhile.
That's a good question. Well, perhaps. This is our first pass of our model, but yeah, as of right now, that's, we probably shouldn't change price by $1 unless we're going to get at least 700. We shouldn't lower price by $1 unless we're going to get at least 721 cases more. Right? Which is a good question because it's a very good question, very good observation. Let's check out those lifts real quick. February is less than 721. May, July is real close. August is clearly less. But what it does is tell us how wrong this is, right? It really tells us how much of this is really due simply to what? Price. Exactly. So we're already moving in a better direction, in a more forward direction. Again, we're going to have another class on this stuff, but we're already moving in a better direction than 100% of the wine industry, and probably 90%, 95% of most other industries that are doing promotional analytics. But we still got to do something with that price. Questions? Taking that home to drink, or
Yeah.
except for the drive home?
Unless you want some.
Absolutely, I've been waiting. I'll be done with this water in no time. I could throw it out the window. We still got to do something with that price, right? We know this constant is at a 0 price. What we want to do is evaluate this at a specific price, right? So we want to throw a price in here that'll allow us to evaluate, that will get us closer to this picture, right? When we didn't have price in the equation, all we had was we couldn't really say at a given price. We just knew there was a difference in sales. But now we can at least approach this picture and say, let's hold price constant. Since we have price in the regression, we can hold price constant at some level. And in this picture, it really doesn't matter because these are parallel lines, but we should be able to just hold price constant and get a better measure of that promotional lift. We already saw it's going to be different than what we first got, right? Does that make sense? So let's pick a price. And then, I mean, look at this big nasty regression. We have to pick a price and then evaluate every month of both promoted and not promoted sales at that price, at that one price. It seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? We should have never included price in this. It just creates more work than it's worth. But that's not true. But that's what we have to do. We have to pick a price and then evaluate promoted and non-promoted sales by month to answer really that question. What's the promotional lift, and when is the promotional lift greatest? What month? Right? When's the best? How do we best allocate our promotional dollars? So we wanna, those are the questions we wanna answer, and those are the $1 million questions. There are firms that do nothing but this for other firms. Any questions? Cold? Get the hat, you're rubbing your hands together. You know what warms you up? Regressions and more. It's like salt and pepper. All right, so let's do this. Let's I heard that. All right, so we're gonna pick a price. I mean, it really doesn't matter, but just for convenience sake, let's just pick the average price between promoted and non-promoted sales. Right? Because we want to approach this picture. We want to hold price constant. Now that we have price in our regression, we can do that. So we're just going to pick a price. So we're going to pick the average of promoted and non-promoted price, right? Summarize price if it's promoted or non-promoted, and there's our average price, $9.21-ish cents. So that's the price we're going to pick for here. Like I said, it really doesn't matter, but that's as good a price as any. It's a good starting point. And as we'll see, that's gonna, the price we pick is gonna matter. But we'll have to wait to see that. Now comes the fun part. We're gonna have 12 months promoted, non-promoted, so that's 24 different equations we have to evaluate. There's not really a way to do that. Is that? We can do the pound sign thing, maybe combined with some other command we might have learned somewhere. Margins. How about margins? The reason I introduced the pound sign thing, factor variables, is because margins recognizes factor variables and will do every calculation for you instantaneously without having to type display blah 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 24 different times, which would really be a drag. So let's use margins. Remember, margins is post-regression, so it remembers this regression. Oh, it just happens to be here. Wow, what a coincidence. All right, I'm going to do this real quick and I'll show you a picture. Look at all the calculations it does. Guess how many equations are there? 24. Exactly. 12 times 2. So what did I do? Where's my margins command? Here it is. So, margins at 920 that we picked, and I just copied and pasted it in there. Margins also recognizes the over command. Over two different things. Over promo, which is promoted and not promoted, and then over month, which is month 1 through 12. So it's going to do all that math for us instantaneously. You gotta love statement.
D promo means promoted and not promoted?
D is a dummy for promoted. So D for dummy. So if we tabbed D promo, capital D promo. Well, it's a dummy. Those are labels on it. No bad. So it's a dummy, it's a 0, 1. 1 if it's promoted, 0 if it's not promoted. But again, think about, well, let's go back up to this outright command. Think about doing this by hand. And look what it does. It takes the dummy at 0 for month 1 at a price of $9.20, and it calculates the cases for that one. Then it takes the dummy at 0 at month 2, and so on and so on and so on. And it evaluates them at the same price every month. So it's doing all of that math for us, and like I said, it's lightning fast. It does the calculations pretty quickly. It does all that math for us. Then it gives us a table. We just gotta know what the heck this table is. So these are the actual predicted values for each month by promotion and not promotion. So let's start.
Is it actual predicted values?
These are the actual, the predicted values, yeah. So, promoted sales in the month of December at a price of $9.21 are expected to be 3,024 cases. Promoted sales in the month of December, I'm sorry, not promoted sales, this is promoted sales, not promoted sales in the month of December are 2,076. Right? Can you see that? Where is it? Here versus here. Stream my back. You know what helps with the back? We'll get him to cork it eventually. So just off the top of your head, what was our promoted lift in December? Does anyone remember?
148.
It was like 148%.
No, that was November, but it was close.
December was still pretty high, right? This is now what? It's 3,000 cases and it's 2,000, so it's 1,000 cases, but it's not 100. It's not we're not doubling. It's something less than double.
Yeah, about a third.
Which is definitely less than 100 and some odd percent, right? So we already know, we've already acknowledged the fact that doing it the other way is wrong. And believe me, when I say it's 100% of the wine industry, and then probably 90–95% of every other industry outside of the wine industry does it that way. It's wrong. Yet they do it. It's a misallocation of resources. Think about it. I'm making a decision based on the fact that I think I'm going to get 100 and whatever percent return on my money, when you're only getting 30 some odd percent. That's a big miscalculation. Now we can do everything with this that we did with our table, right? The table that we started out with. So we just got to copy and paste this as a table. Any questions before we move on? Any questions on why this is awesome and how we've moved from really bad to at least better?
I don't have a question on that. I have a question. Can you make those like side to side so they're easier to see on that direction? Is that like impossible?
Let's not get picky.
Okay.
We're going to do that. No, we're going to do that. But it's just that Stata not going to do it for us. We're going to have to. Stata doesn't do everything. I've tried. Tried to get it to talk to my wife a couple times. It didn't work. All right. So, but we're going to do exactly what you want. I'm going to scroll down a bit.
I agreed with everything you said, but the first table that we ran, we weren't telling it a price at $9.21.
We didn't have a price. Remember,
Exactly.
there was no price in the regression, so we didn't have The only way to account for price is to run a regression. Okay, so this is standard errors, t-stats, p-values, and all that stuff. We don't really need that stuff. These are labels, but we know what these labels are. We know that the first 12 are the first 12 months of non-promoted sales. We know that the second 12 are the promoted sales. So we're going to do what was asked. It's just that state is not going to do it. So we can take this and, right, let's move it over here. And I'm going to still these. Matt, you know something? We should just move them over here. Excel isn't all bad. It's good at stuff like this. Spreadsheets. Building tables. Oh, I need to go down one. And we're going to want to do these same things here. So we got non-promoted, promoted, all right, we can calculate lift equals promoted minus non-promoted. Again, we know the January is, there's an issue with January, that's fine. And then we can take this and divide it by non-promoted and get cells, percent, and then we'll set it, it's just to be nice. We went from 148% lift in November to 65%. You, and by you I mean every firm that you're probably working for, is calculating lift wrong, promotional lift wrong. This is a better way. It's not even the best way. We're going to come up with a better way. But this is a move in the right direction. All right, we get nice graphs and all kinds of stuff out of it. But again, the magnitudes are just mind-boggling. Look at October. October, we thought what? 107% lift, when it's actually what? 23? That's a huge difference. That's a huge difference. This is proving your value, your worth to a company. Better reallocation of promotional dollars. They're promoting based on those numbers when they should be promoting based on those numbers. End cap, meet aisle, whatever you want to do, they're all calculated similarly, the same way. And they're all similarly wrong. And notice that these aren't like a consistent proportion of one another. It's not like they're all 3 times off, so you can just divide everything by 3 or something like that. It differs. The magnitudes differ. 78% down to 8%.
Aren't those at the price though of $9.21, and does
Yeah.
that matter?
Yeah.
So you're looking at a certain price on this set of data and not a certain price at the other set, correct?
And we're ignoring price, yeah.
So
but-
okay, go ahead.
No, but that's the problem. That's the problem. The problem is that when you construct a table like this, you're ignoring the role of price.
Okay.
And the only way to account for price is the dreaded look on his face when he said more regression. It was like asking for more beets or more, what are those little round things that we like? Brussels sprouts, more Brussels sprouts. Does anyone ever eat Brussels
I
sprouts?
love
Do
it.
you really? But that's what I meant, they're good.
Depends on how you cook it. Depends on the price, it depends on how you cook it.
If you put enough bacon in with Brussels sprouts, they're
Yeah, that's good.
No, that makes them okay, we've got bacon.
Bacon makes everything okay.
So why are the
It does.
others negative? They're saying that when you adjust to the price point and you promote, you're actually negatively affecting your sales?
It means that price is overwhelming the effect of promotion. It's really, yeah, and it's saying that to some extent, and again, this is, so we're about 2%, yeah, about 2%, that in July, which is strange, well, it's not strange, but we'll get to that in a bit. That in July, we're probably better off not promoting at all than by promoting. People are responding to price. And one of the problems with this, and this is gonna be something you're gonna have to do with the problem set, is remember this is it's not one SKU, it's one category. So this is probably not supposed to, but it's Robert Mondavi Private Select, which is Cab, Chard, I think they have Merlot. Got me on the spot. But there's about 3 different, and there's a world of difference in the seasonality between white and red wines. Right? In the summer, we're drinking more white wine. In the holidays, the ONDs, we're drinking more red wine. And these are going to change based on when we pull out Chardonnay and do the same kind of analysis. We're going to see that their promotional lifts are going to differ seasonally, different than the Cabs. I'm not sure. I think I'd have to do Cab and Chard. And you're going to see that the promotional lifts are going to have. We'll get to that. But these negative values are telling us that it's really price that's the dominating effect and not promotion. And then, right, we know to graph these, some nice bar charts. Where are we at? So there's the case lift, but we're always more interested in the percentage lift. And we see a couple of months with negative percentages. January, again, we can ignore. But the other months, not so much. We're still getting results that the holiday months are where we're getting our biggest boost. But remember, before these were all positive. They were all positive lifts.
Your November is still the highest.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was true in the previous one, right? I think we can go back one second.
Even when you're beginning that, when you're beginning it down.
Yeah. Well, look at the difference between those two graphs. One is all positive, right? It's all gravy. And the other one, once we account for price, is
If you concentrate all your effort in November, you begin regardless.
yeah. So if we just took all our money and shoved it in November, but this one's telling us that we're still getting good investments here. When once we account for price, we're actually seeing small or no investment. So most firms are probably not going to cut out promotions entirely. They're looking at the most efficient way to allocate their promotional dollars. And when I talked about doing the meat aisle, and I've done an analytics job, just trying to figure out which one of their arrays of promotion are they getting the biggest bang for their buck. And there had to have been 30 different types of promotions, meat aisles, end caps, all kinds of different things. And promotion's is a big ticket of any firm. It's a big part of any firm's marketing expenditures.
Do you have a paper on this?
Yes. Yeah.
Could you throw cost into this?
If we had it, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
you don't have it.
But we don't, yeah. So this would be, yeah. So this is, remember, this is scan data, so this comes out from the register, and I don't have the data from.
But the margin would be really interesting.
Yeah.
And you could do the same type of thing with Westfield,
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And if you have cost, then that's where, you know, that, where'd it go? Lost it. This one? Yeah, so if we have cost, we can subtract cost out of there, and, or we can multiply this times price, subtract cost, and get a true ROI, right? So once we get this into a spreadsheet, we can do whatever we want, and it's just the methodology. So most firms are doing this. Think about, I know it looks easy, but think about what we just did, and try to have someone at your work do that. Margins, factor variables, you know, it took us a full semester to get here. And this stuff isn't real intuitive. This isn't something you can pick up, even if you read my paper on it. It's not something that you'll pick up on. Did you find it? So, and we're gonna cover the paper more extensively, but right now it's, holy cow, Green Bay came back.
I know.
Wow.
It was 17-0.
17-0, wow, that's not.
And it's 27-22.
Damn, we missed a really good game. Did you record it?
Now you know the outcome.
Yeah, it's not over yet. It's not over yet, right?
No, I said
Watch the
final.
second half, that's when everything happens.
Last final.
Oh, it is fun.
The Eagles.
Sorry.
Aaron Rodgers.
That must have been an awesome second half. So that's this paper here. Mike Nolan works for, not Diageo, Delicato. Delicato Family Wineries. Scott Kirkwood just quit, was working for another one of my former students who got into the biotech industry. Scott Kirkwood just quit a $150,000 job to pursue his career in music.
How
So
old is he?
he's 24, 5 maybe.
How's he doing?
Well, you know, they barely get paid if they do a show. So
There's a
it's
fine line between making it.
between making money and again, he had a good job, but it was he worked for a guy named Mike Hammond. He had a, yeah, I couldn't believe it, but he's following his passion. So this is the paper this is based on. We're gonna get past
I'm
where
gonna make
we're
money
going.
I gotta go do this.
So, any questions? We're gonna stop here.
Is Mike Nolan still at Delicato?
Yeah.
That's cool. I know it was.